بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا سجد أحدكم فلا يبرك كما يبرك البعير وليضع يديه قبل ركبتيه رواه أبو داود النسائي والدارمي قال أبو سليمان الخطابي حديث وائل بن حجر أثبت من هذا وقيل هذا منسوخ. Narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, Nabi Akram says, when one of you makes sajda, he shouldn't sit like how the camel sits. Rather, he should place his hands before his knees. Narrated Abu Dawud, Nasai, Darami. And Abu Sulaiman al-Khattabi said the hadith of Wali ibn Hajar is more stronger than this here. And it is said that this hadith here is mansukh. Right. So what does this mean? How does the camel sit? So the camel will sit by placing its knees first, right, on the ground. So this hadith is saying you shouldn't place your knees first on the ground. You should put your hands first on the ground. So this hadith here is contrary to the previous hadith that we did yesterday. So therefore there's ikhtilaf, right? And if you look at the ikhtilaf, Imam Bonifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad Hamla says, first you put your knees, then your hands. And they make amal on Hazrat Wa'id ibn Hujr's hadith, right? And Imam Malik and others, they say you put your hands first, right? And then when it comes, if two hadiths clash, and the usul is, according to the muhaddithin, is that you give preference to the stronger of the two hadiths, right? And they say that Ibn Hujr's hadith is more stronger. When Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu qala kana Nabi sallam yaqulu bayna sajdatain Allahumma ighfir li warhamni wahdini wa'afini warzuqni. Abu Dawud at-Tirmidhi. Ibn Abbas narrated that Nabi Akram used to say between the two sajdas, Allahumma ighfir li warhamni, right, wahdini wa'afini, and grant me afiyat, warzuqni, and grant me sustenance. So this is in Jalsa. In Jalsa, that's where you can read this also. For the Ahnaf in the Faraj Salas, in the Jalsa day, because we're not supposed to read this long du'as, you can read Allahumma ighfirli warhamni. That amount you can read. When Huzayfa radiallahu anhu, Nabi sallam kana yaqulu bayna as-sajdatayn Rabbi ighfirli, rawahu an-Nasa'i Darimi. That was Huzayfa said Nabi Akram should say between the two sajdas, Rabbi ighfirli, right? So they chose now Rabbi ighfirli, that is in Jalsa. Right. One Abdurrahman ibn Shiblin قال نهى رسول الله عن نقرة الغراب وافتراش السبع ويوطن الرجل المكان في المسجد كما يوطن البعير رواه أبو داود والنسائي والدارمي. Abdurrahman ibn Shiblin, he says in Nabi Akram is prohibited from the pecking of the crow, right, and the spreading out of the during sajda, like the spreading out of a predatory animal, and the man fixing a place in the masjid just as the camel fixes his place. The Naib Abu Dawud, Nasai and Darimi, right? Pecking of the crow, what it means is how fast the crow pecks, right? And it lifts, pecked one, then lift up, pecked one. So likewise, you shouldn't make your sajda like it, quickly in and out of the sajda. And then and then also, whilst in sajda, you shouldn't spread out your hands and let it lie flat on the floor, like how the animals of prey, or the dog, how they spread out their hands and they let it lie flat on the floor. And then also, a person shouldn't fix a place in the masjid, right? Rather, wherever he gets place, and he shouldn't book a place in the masjid also. This is all prohibited, right? And therefore, Allama Halwani rahmatullah, he says also that our ulama says it's makruh also to fix a special clothes for salah, because then what happens is, only that clothes I'm going to use for the salah. I'm not using any other clothes. Then what happens is that salah now becomes a habit and no more an ibadat. And the moment the ibadat turns to a habit, that's when you should stop doing that. You understand it? Therefore, and for this reason also, therefore, they say, ulama say, that you shouldn't fast every day. Because when you fast every day, then your fasting also becomes now habitual. And then the ibadat aspect of it goes out. All right. وعن علي رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا علي إني أحب لك ما أحب لنفسي وأكره لك ما أكره لنفسي لا تقعي بين السجدتين رواه الترمذي. Then Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said, the Nabi Akram said, "Oh Ali, I love for you what I love for myself, and I dislike for you what I dislike for myself. Do not sit iq'a in the iq'a position, right, between the two sajdas, narrated by Tirmizi. Right. So firstly, here we see the compassion Nabi Akram had, and also here is focus on as Ali radiallahu anhu. But that actually is focused on every ummati. That Nabi Karim, because of his compassion, he loves for the ummah what he loves for himself, and he dislikes for the ummah what he dislikes for himself. Right. And then he tells him here that not sit in iq'a. What is iq'a? Iq'a is when you sit on your buttocks and you put your knees up and you put your hands on the ground like it. Right? So you shouldn't, that's how normally our dog sits. Right? So you shouldn't sit like it. And the other meaning given to iq'a also is to sit on your heels. So you put your two, instead of sitting flat on your heels, you're putting your feet up and you're sitting on your heels between the two sajdas. Right. وانطلق ابن علي الحنفي رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا ينظر الله عز وجل إلى صلاة عبد لا يقيم فيها صلبه بين ركوعها بين خشوعها وسجودها رواه أبو أحمد. Okay. Narration from Talq bin Ali al-Hanafi. Okay. Nabi Akram says Allah Ta'ala doesn't look to the salat of a servant who doesn't make straight in it his back between his ruku and his sajda. By Imam Ahmad Rahmatullah. So what does again here says here now? That you need to make ta'addi li arkan. That you need to be completely settled in the posture before you come out of it. You understand? And that is, we explained that already. Right. والنافع أن ابن رحمة الله أن ابن عمر كان يقول من وضع جبهته بالأرض فليضع كفيه على الذي وضع عليه جبهته ثم إذا رفع فيرفعهما فإن اليدين تسجدان كما يسجد الوجه رواه مالك. Nafi Rahmatullah said Ibn Umar used to say that whoever places his forehead on the earth, then he should place his hands on the place where he placed his forehead upon. Then when he raised, then he should raise his hands also, because the hands also make sajjah just as the face makes sajjah. Right. When a person goes into sajda, that not only his forehead and his nose make sajda, rather every limb goes into prostration before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. From this hadith, you understand here that a person must put, where he puts his forehead, in line with that, he must put his hands. And that is the maslak of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh. Imam Shafi rahmatullah say you put your hands in line with your shoulders. All right. Babu Tashahudi, the chapter of Tashahud. Right? So what's Tashahud in the Shariat? It is to say At-Tahiyyat and then to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Right. So it is that Shahadatain which is mentioned in At-Tahiyyat, right? Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا قعد في التشهد وضع يده اليسرى على ركبته اليسرى ووضع يده اليمنى على ركبته اليمنى وعقد 53 وأشار بالسبابة. وفي رواية كان إذا جلس في الصلاة وضع يديه على ركبتيه ورفع إصبعه اليمنى التي تلي إبهامه يدعو بها ويده اليسرى على ركبته باسطها عليها رواه مسلم. Ibn Umar said Nabi Akram when he used to sit in tashahudi to put his left head on his left knee and his right hand on his right knee, and then he used to make make his hands right into is to tie his hands. So basically is to make a sign with his hands, and the sign was equal to the number 53. right? And then he used to make a sign, a sign with his index finger. That's when he say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, right? Right. And in one riwayat, when he used to sit in Salah, he used to place his hand upon his knees and he used to raise his right finger, the one which is next to the thumb, and he used to make the shahadat with it. Right? Yadu biha, you make the shahadat with it. And when he's doing that, whole yusra in his left hand would be on his left knee, and he spread out flat upon it. Right. So this is showing you now. So in uh, when you're making signs or indications with your hand referring to number, then this particular method here is the it amounts to 53. Right. So how does it amount to that? It amounts to it by so what he does is that he puts he closes the three fingers. The first three fingers he closes, right? And then uh, the he leaves right. Then he joins. Okay, let I tell you how we do it, right? We do what is called the number 60. So what we do, the number 60, you close these two fingers and then you join this two here. And then your shahadat finger is free. And the number 53 is like this. You close the three fingers and then you do the shahadat like this. So this two will be free there. You understand it? So that would be how do the Shafis do? Yeah, you close so the shahada today you close all fingers there and you just leave the shahadat finger free. So that will be 53. Where all four fingers are closed, including the thumb. All right. And then your shahadat finger is free. But what we do is you close the first two fingers, you join the thumb and the third finger, the middle finger, and then your shahadat finger, right? So they say that amounts to 60. And Imam Malik Rahmatullahi says, this is actually Imam Malik Rahmatullahi. He says, you close all four fingers. Okay, I'll just give it tomorrow. I'll just explain again how the Shafis do it. Right, so Imam Malik Rahmatullahi, he says, you close all four fingers and the Shahadat finger is free. All right. And then I explain to you how Ahnaf says, you close the two and then the middle finger and the thumb, you make a circle and then your Shahadat finger is there. Right. Right. And then when do you make the indication? The shahadat you make when you say Ashhadu an la ilaha, right? You lift up your shahadat finger and you drop it at illallah. You understand it? And the Shafis they say you just lift it up at you lift up your shahadat finger, illallah. And then you don't drop it. Right. Okay. Okay, leave it till the slide.